Then a mostly sunny day, a few light showers lingering in the west.
More now on one of our earlier stories, the issue of same-sex marriage and its prospects in the Parliament when it returns for the spring session. And with me now, Labor frontbencher Anthony Albanese. Mr Albanese, thanks for your time this Friday morning. I want to ask you, first of all, the prospects don't look too good, do they, given what the Prime Minister has said about this private members bill being dealt with in the normal parliamentary way?
Well, I think the prospects are indeed good, Kieran. The fact is that during the last Parliament, 20 private members' bills were voted upon, including 2 from Mr Abbott himself. And since I've been in Parliament, there have been votes on many bills have been dealt with, including on many social policy issues that have been dealt with through the conscience vote process. What that has seen in the past is the Parliament at its best. No matter what position you take on issues like voluntary euthanasia was one, I think it was a dignified, respectful debate. I happen to have been in the minority on that occasion, but I think it was Parliament at its best. And the idea that Tony Abbott, having called for a cross-party legislation for marriage equality, has now got it, has people from his own party, people from the Labor Party. This is a bill that will be moved by Warren Entsch, seconded by Terry Butler. It has broad support from across the political spectrum, and the idea that debate will be denied on that. Of course, there are a range of procedural methods can be done to bring on a vote on such an issue, and I think Australians want to have a determination by the Parliament, and it should be done in a respectful way, but it should happen.
Well, if it does happen, the vote, that is, do you think the numbers are there? It looks very tight from my reckoning.
I think there is a majority in the House of Representatives and the Senate. I've been saying that for some time. We won't know until people actually have a right to cast their vote. That's what people have been elected to do, to state their position. But all the momentum is headed one way on this, Kieran. I'll put it to you this way. When was the last time you heard someone say, I was in favour of marriage equality, but I've changed my mind and now I'm not going to support marriage equality? That's not happening. What's happening is that people who have been cautious about embracing marriage equality in the past, thinking through the issues and changing their mind in the other direction. The momentum is clear. It's not a matter of will marriage equality happen in Australia, it's a matter of when marriage equality will happen.
Do you accept, though, that the Prime Minister is obviously in a difficult position right now, given the different views within his party? There's only a fraction of your party who support the status quo. They are still there, though, a handful of MPs in the lower house at least, who will vote against marriage, same-sex marriage being legalised. For the Prime Minister, it's a much more difficult balancing act, given the more conservative views in the party.
Well, I respect people's right to put forward their views. Many people hold those views dearly due to reasons of faith, and that is one of the reasons why I support a conscience vote on this issue. But, you know, the future agenda is clear, and the problem here isn't that Tony Abbott is stuck in the past. It's he wants the rest of Australia to go back there and keep him company. And then you have even more extreme views, I think, of someone like Eric Abetz. I mean, his statements yesterday are beyond comprehension. It's the sort of off-the-planet stuff we see from the Tea Party right wing in the United States, and calling for his own colleagues to resign from the front bench if they support marriage equality. I mean, the Liberal Party, a small L Liberal position, is about respecting diversity and individualism. And I just do not believe that the party of Robert Menzies is about to deny people the right to put forward their views in the parliament. That would be consistent. And for Tony Abbott, the politics of this are pretty clear. He can maintain his view on marriage equality whilst being the Prime Minister while there's a vote in the House of Representatives and the Senate. And in my view, in all likelihood, that reform will be carried. Once it's carried, people will wonder what the fuss was about, because this isn't about taking away rights of anyone. This is about giving a group of people who currently don't enjoy the rights as you that you and I have been able to have to marry the person that we love, and giving some people who are excluded from that those equal rights.
Okay, I want to ask you quickly about another story. This is the front of the Australian this morning. Troy Bramston reports that the left faction is going to put forward a motion to the Rules Committee for consideration at the National Conference that would basically see unions have a direct say in the selection of half of the delegates to the party's National Conference. Is this entrenching further union influence, and do you support the move?
Well, poor old Troy, of course, only has a couple of contacts in the Labor Party, and he writes what he's given and slaps exclusive on it day after day, and most of the time when you actually look at the detail, it doesn't stack up. Unions currently have 50% of the say in the Labor Party state conferences that elect the delegates to National Conference, and that's the current status quo. I think the real question about party reform, Kieran, and I've argued this consistently for some time, is how do you increase the amount of power that the rank and file membership have in the Labor Party? You can only do that if power comes from someone, and it has to come, or from a group, and it has to come from the factions, be given to the membership, and that's how I'll judge specific reform proposals that come through at the National Conference. But the truth is that the debate on this is weeks off. The factions haven't had meetings.
So there's no move. There's no move here by the left to enhance the power of the unions in increasing the union influence at the conference?
Well, Kieran, you work it out, mate. 50% they currently have. Troy's story says they're going to have 50% under a different model. That to me, that to me is, you know, I've been around a while, but 50 now, 50 then, seems to me to be the same. Maybe I'm missing something, but to me, that's what the story does. And usually you've got to look at the motivation behind people putting forward stories. And, you know, in this case, I think it's pretty extraordinary that it's put on the front page, as my understanding is. You know, I think the real issue is one of reform, and I support increasing the influence of the rank and file membership of the party, and that is the direction that the party has to go in.
Okay, Anthony Albanese, thanks for your time this Friday morning. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
You're watching First Edition. A brief look at the Sky News weather forecast for today. A frosty morning in the southeast, then a mostly sunny day, a few light showers lingering in the west.
It's coming up to 7 o'clock Eastern. Thanks for your company. More on this gay marriage debate after the break, with comments this morning from